Thank you. I understand you're doing slides too, is that right? Okay, so I'm one of those people who really does like the Brundtland definition of sustainability because it leaves us with the big issues, okay? If something compromises the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, then it is not sustainable. My organization, with the words environmentally sound and transportation, is inextricably bound up in what is transportation in community and what is sustainability. So the first slide, are we on the first slide? No, we're already on the second one. What I was going to start with was talking about the need for accessible mobility for all ages. Okay, one of the things that makes community real is when multi-generations can interact together. We have this massive opportunity arising because we're going to have a demographic boom of people who are aging, and it's going to allow us to put sanity back into the way that we live in neighborhoods by ultimately providing more in the way of various kinds of mobility. There's two populations that are totally dependent on having walkable and bicycleable communities. That's the elderly and the young. In the last 50 years or so, we have designed communities kind of by default. We didn't intend it for the car. 30%, we can flip those anytime you like. I'm trying to keep up with you. I understood it was going to be fixed. We ended up designing communities that even in Vancouver, 70% residential, 30% of the space is taken up for cars. 30% of our land is taken up for cars. So cars are a necessary evil. You know, we're not going to stop them, but we absolutely have to address how we're going to get around. If we want something that's sustainable for our kids and our grandkids and future generations, we need to build mobility options that allow things like longboards, things like people with walkers, things like people on bicycles, things like people on electric scooters, all of which are going to require that we take space back from the automobile. This is not an easy sell. I tell you, I live in this world, okay? It is not an easy sell. One of the reasons why climate change action hasn't gone anywhere is because the vast power of the oil companies and the obscene amount of money that they are able to bring to bear to influencing governments all over the planet, including ours, which, by the way, now is a petro-government, okay? We have a petrodollar, and we have a petro-economy, and we have a petro-government, all right? Is that we're not able, no one is able to effectively counter that. The only way you can effectively counter that is by doing this. And that happens at the neighborhood level, absolutely. It happens at the individual level. But it also needs to happen in terms of people thinking about how does one neighborhood connect to another. The thing that transportation systems do and that transportation does is it requires, by virtue of the fact that you're going from one place to another, you're always crossing jurisdictional lines. You are always going interprovincially. You're going across national boundaries. So it means that you have to be indeed acting locally, but thinking globally and being prepared to ramp your action up out of your neighborhood back to the global immediately. That's kind of a nice thing to end up with if we can get there, because we see that we've taken the space. So yeah, so can we go back to that one other slide, the community one? Because it shows that's the 30%, okay? That's supposed to be a complete community, okay? You've got all your local services and so on and so forth. But I look at that wide bandwidth and I say, that's not for walking, okay? Because it hasn't been designed for that, it's been designed for cars. Okay, the slide with the cars that are drowning. This talk was going to be a little less pushy. In fact, I was going to talk more about nice aging and elderly and kids and stuff. But I just came from a 2-hour session with Bill McKibben. Does everybody know Bill McKibben? Yeah, some nods, no. Bill McKibben, 350.org, 350.org. More heads nodding? Okay. So, so he was talking about the fact that the climate science now is so dark that we have got to stop thinking about transit-oriented development and, oh, we're just going to build our way to a sustainable future. If we don't staunch the flow of carbon into the atmosphere now, we will not be able to adapt. Okay, it's absolutely clear. I'm not going to give you more detail than that, but I do want to say that that's the future that we want. Okay? Am I over my 5 minutes? Thank you.